now as promised, we will go to something a bit lighter. Now, I want to just ask you a couple of more general questions about your personal experiences in Albania, so we can finish on a more positive note. So what I want to ask, what you expected before you came to Albania, and after your time here so far, how those expectations have been met or surpassed or changed in any way?
So the great privilege of being ambassador here is I get to travel around the whole country and to meet everyone across the range of society. But the most inspiring part, as I'm sure you've experienced too, is talking to young people. So I really have benefited from hearing their views, their aspirations, but also their frustrations. And that helps me to make sure that what I do, what the British government does, the British Embassy does, really is trying to meet those aspirations for young people here. We've just launched the Next Generation report, which actually has been done by the British Council to capture the views of young people. So maybe we should, after you've had a chance to read that, which I'll send to you,
yes,
we can actually talk about, how can we meet the needs of young people? But the other thing that's really struck me is just the beauty and diversity of the whole country. I mean, the variety in what is a relatively small country is extraordinary.
Yes.
So I have loved it, whether it's the coastal experiences, as you said earlier, the mountains. I'm going hiking this weekend again in the north near Shkodra. It's a real joy to get out and about as an individual, but also to see the joy that brings to other people. And I think Albania has a wonderful, special nature that is a real pleasure to be here.
I was looking the other day at the traditional clothes, and I was trying to think, what do we have in the UK that's similar? And I couldn't think. Okay, in Wales the women have a.
Well, I'm half Scottish, so
yes,
kilts we have as well.
Yes,
so.
But then I was trying to think: is there an English traditional dress?
Morris dancing is probably the closest
thing I could think of, and I was like, I don't think I want to walk around with bells hanging off me, and But then you compare that to Albania, where every village, even just 20 houses,
very special traditions and
music,
and
dance, food, even dialect and accent, different kind of clothes that you can identify and this is fascinating to me, because I was like, Morris dancing doesn't really cut it.
Well, one of the things that I'm really delighted about is that I'm lucky that before becoming ambassador, I got the chance to learn Albanian. And of course, it's not just about learning the language, but also helps you to have more insights into the culture. And then being here, of course, I'm able to converse in Albanian as well, which helps me to reach a wider and talk to a wider array of people. So that's been a real privilege. But it's also made me really appreciate the culture here. And I don't think people have really elsewhere understood the richnesses here. And so the more that's done to bring that to life, and also to help Albanians feel really proud of these different aspects of culture and show that off to the world really positively. That, I think, is going to be part of this next period.
And I want to ask you as well, when your mandate comes to an end and the time comes that you have to leave Albania, two questions. What do you want your legacy to be? How do you want people to remember you? And two, what will you take with you from Albania?
So two things. First, I'm not finishing soon. I've got almost another year to go. So I will be continuing all my efforts over the next period. And even once I finish in Albania, I'm really looking forward to coming back as a visitor, because I have so many friends here now. I love the country. I will continue, I hope, to be a small A ambassador for Albania for the future in whatever guise I end up doing in the future. But I think the thing I'm proudest of is the extraordinary impact that we've had for both countries, for both British and Albanian citizens, in a relatively short space of time. And we see that in the transformation of the bilateral relationship, encapsulated in the joint communique last year, but now we're celebrating 1 year on the impact we've achieved through that, and broadening the relationship, elevating it, and making sure that it covers the whole range of things that do meet the aspirations of young people. And that, for me, is the key.
And on a personal level, what are you going to take away? What bit of Albania will you take with you? What have you learned here? What has touched you? What has changed you through being here?
I think it's the way that Albanians deal with others. What I would wish is that maybe some Albanians dealt with other Albanians with the same love and care, support and welcome that Albanians showed to foreigners and to British visitors. And I think that's the sort of thing that I'll take away, is that when you do open your heart, bring people into your home, it just creates the sort of world that I enjoy living in.
Yes.
And that is something I think we should all be encouraging much more.
Another question. What thing about Albania surprises people the most when you tell them? Mine is Albania is really safe. There is nowhere in this country I wouldn't walk as a woman alone any time of day or night. People are surprised to hear that.
The statistics show that. I mean, Albania is the safest country in Europe from a perspective of personal security and robbery. If only the issues around organised crime and corruption were tackled, then this would be the best country in the world.
Yes.
And that is the thing that I hope we will also make inroads to together. But no, I think the thing that surprises people is the diversity across the country, because I think people don't realise that one small area can have such amazing coastlines and beaches, amazing mountains, amazing rivers, amazing diversity of places, but also, as you said, the amazing culture of people. And that's definitely what my family, friends and I have experienced ourselves.
It's like a treasure trove. Like
Really
you really
is.
don't know what you're expecting. And the last question I have to ask, because every interview I've ever done, people ask me this question as well. Favourite place in Albania?
So I'm not going to single out a favourite place, because otherwise
Diplomatic response.
everywhere else would...
There'll be rioting outside the embassy.
But I have a particular affection to the places that I've spent time most in. And of course, I mentioned learning Albanian. That was partly in Shkodra for 7 weeks. So that's been a particularly special moment where I was learning about things. But I love Tirana. I love places across the country. I've been down to Korçë. I've been to Gjirokastër and Berat. Berat has the history and this extraordinary...
Just looks like a postcard.
It's unique in the world.
Yeah.
But there are so many of these unique places. So I think that's what's so special about Albania. So not one place, but several.
Favourite food?
Favourite food? Burek.
Burek.
Seriously.
Can't go wrong,
And
can you?
again, different types of burek.
Yes, that's a very, very good choice. And that will keep everybody happy as well. No one's going to feel that their particular food has been missed out. Alistair, thank you very much. This has been very interesting, especially for me as a Brit who is pretty much Albanian now.
Well, and I may be the formal ambassador of the United Kingdom to Albania, but actually you do that as an informal ambassador every day. So thanks to you, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.